A.
A, so if you have anywhere installed, it doesn't matter where you are. That's correct. Now, anywhere doesn't mean like anywhere in terms of anywhere in the space around you. But anywhere is like a system, I think, and it's just called anywhere. So if you have anywhere installed, doesn't matter where you are. So A is correct. Well done, Baba. Thank you so much. Just mute yourself. We'll come to Rachel next. Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
Hi. So just take your time with this one and see what you feel is the correct answer in terms of spellings and sentence structure.
Okay, let's go to the bedroom. There's no time.
Is it A?
Let's have a quick look. So the software detects the local network node and does it is stuff. Can you see the contraction in A where it says it's?
Yeah.
So you know that it's in A, just the second last word. What does that contraction stand for?
Like for what it does.
Yeah, let me just show you very quickly. I'll explain this to you. So this one here, can you see that word that I've just highlighted? It's. So that it's, because there's an apostrophe there, that stands for it is. So let's see if this is correct. So yeah, so the software detects the local network node and it does it is stuff. So that's one of the reasons why it doesn't make sense. So let's have a look at B and check if B is correct. So the software detects the local network node and does its stuff. So you see the difference there?
Yeah.
Between those. So that was the difference. So B is correct. Well done to you. Let's do one more together. So let's have a look at this. Take your time with this. There's no rush. Let me just increase the size so you can see properly.
Is it C?
C. So let's have a look. It works out where you are as long as your computer is Bluetooth compatible. So in this case, we're looking at your, and your. And this particular your that you've chosen is correct. Do you know what Bluetooth is?
Yeah.
What is it?
The setting you have on your phone, you can use it to connect to other things.
Well done, Rachel. Thank you so much. Good girl. And let me just mute you and go on to somebody else. Let's go to Danielle. Hi, Danielle. Okay, Danielle, just sort your audio out and I'll come back to you in a minute, all right? Let's go to Amir. Hello, Amir.
Hello.
Hi there, you okay?
Yeah.
Very good. Have a go at this one, Amir. Question number 10.
Is it B?
Why do you think it's B?
Because the apostrophe makes it you are not too far from a node. The rest don't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So again, we're doing your, and your. And the B option that you've chosen is short for you are not too far from a node. So the entire sentence in that context makes sense. So you all have to remember that when you're using these words, now it's very, very common to make these mistakes because again, a lot of people, when they do text messaging and Snapchat and Facebook and Instagram, whatever you might do, it's very common to write in shorthand words. And when you get into that habit of writing in shorthand words, a lot of people don't spell properly. And sometimes people don't even care if they spell properly. So, you know, in our case, when you're actually writing to your, even when you're conversing with your friends, English language is English language. And because you're in that time frame where you're about to do your GCSE exams very soon, in the next year or two, I would highly recommend that you use contractions because it actually smoothens up the language, sounds nice, and actually it is correct at the same time, language-wise, that is. Okay? So just bear that in mind as well, please. So this one is correct, well done. So we're going to go for B. And let's go to the next one. Amir, are you there?
Yeah. So
Yes, okay, so try this one. Take your time.
is it D?
Is it D? Let's have a look. So just read it out to me.
The software would keep your network connection running by jumping from node to node.
The software would keep your network connection running by jumping from node to node. And why do you distinguish this one from the others?
The first one doesn't have an apostrophe, so it's wrong. The B just has an R. It should have an RE. C is the wrong your because it doesn't make sense because it would say the software would keep your network connection. So
Correct. I would agree with you there. I would agree with you there. That's correct. Well done. And one more.
A.
Let's have a look at this. See if it makes sense or not. Another use might be in computers sewn into your clothing. Another use might be in computers sewn into your particular clothing. So part A. Yeah, because again, we're looking at the word your, which is very, very common in this case. So that's correct. Well done. Thank you, Amin. Just mute yourself there. Well done. Let's go to Aman for the next one. Aman, if you could just unmute yourself, please.
Hello.
Hi there, Aman. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good, good. And just have a look at this one, please.
So it would be C, because it's asking where instead of what you're wearing or we are or were. It's asking where you are.
Absolutely. So were, where, where, were, they all kind of sound the same, but they're still pronounced where. So the network would know where you were at all times. So C is correct. Well done, Aman. And just do one more as well.
It would be B, because
What do you think?
because it's you are, it makes more sense. Whereas your, it's not. Whereas your, it wouldn't make sense, and your, it doesn't have the apostrophe, and D, it doesn't have the E at the end. B R.
So did you choose D?
I chose B.
B. Okay, so the network could reroute all your electronic data to the jacket you're wearing. So your stands for you are wearing in this case.
Yeah.
That's right. I would go for that as well, man. Thank you so much for your contribution. Well done. And let's just go to Bogo. Hello, Bogo. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Good, good. Okay. So we're looking at question 15 now, Bogo.
Yeah, I think it's A.
And why do you think it's A?
Because, like, where is the shorter version for we are? And it says we are thinking of calling the version anywhere, and that makes the most sense.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So we're pronouncing the first word as we're thinking of calling that version of the software anywhere. And the same thing applies to A, B, C, D. The only thing is that we're trying to find the correct homophone in this case. And A is most certainly correct. Well done. Okay, good. So that's done. And now we're going to move on to the next one. So let's just go to the next page. Somebody's done some graffiti on my screen, which I asked you last week to do, but not this week. I don't know who that was. So can you just quickly delete that from your side, please, if you don't mind? Just clear that from your screen. I'm just going to give you permission to do that now. Go ahead. If you could kindly just clear that out for me from your side, please. Dan, thank you very much, Dan. We'll do that next time, right, Dan? So don't worry. I'll give you permission to annotate on there as well. So don't worry. Just get rid of that one for me, Dan, as well. Try that now. Okay, I'll try and get rid of that in 1 second. So don't worry. All right, that's no problem, Dan. That's fine. Not to worry. Thank you. Okay, so if any of you do have touchscreen computers, and it's not important, by the way, to have a touchscreen computer, but if you do, then you can actually write and contribute on my screen as well. I gave a few people permission last week, but they did not have a touchscreen, so it doesn't matter. It's fine. All right, so let's just go on here. So we're looking at sentences. Okay, so let's just go through these very quickly. So what we'll do is we'll just read this text first of all and get a few of you to read. So I'll just come to some of you now so we can contribute. So let's go to Eliora for this first of all. Hi Eliora, could you just read down to where it says at the end of compound sentences, all the way down there, please.
The four types of sentences in English are simple, compound, complex, and minor. Simple sentences must contain a subject, the person or thing doing the action, e.g. Helen, the cat, they, I, the mad old professor, a verb, e.g. running, listened, slept, was alarmed. They can have other parts as well, objects, the person or thing acted upon. The dog ate the biscuit, complements additional information about the subject. Example for teller is a doctor. Adverbials, additional information about the verb, e.g. quickly, on Tuesday, at the house. When they form a part of other sentences, simple sentences are usually referred to as clauses. Compound sentences join two or more sentences together. The two parts are joined by coordinating conjunctions such as and, but, or. Example, Ben went to the cinema but stayed at home. Do you want to catch a bus or will you walk home? Complex sentences have two or more clauses conjoined by subordinating conjunctions such as although, because, if, and if. The main clause makes sense on its own. The subordinate clause does not make sense on its own. The subordinate clause follows the subordinating conjunction. Example, I didn't see you at the party, although I looked everywhere. If you read this in the light, you'll hurt your eyes. Note that the subordinate clause can occur. Note that the subordinate clause can occur at the beginning of the sentence as well as the end.
Thank you, Eliora. Thank you very much for that. So this is all form, by the way, because there wasn't enough space. I've kind of had to squeeze a lot of information in this page, just so that it kind of adds up. So there are four sentences types in English. So there's simple, there are compound sentences, there are complex sentences, and there are minor sentences. So simple sentences that Eliora mentioned before contains a subject, and a subject is a person, a thing doing the action. So a person or a subject doing the action. So for example, Helen, the cat, I, they, the mad old professor, these are all subjects. And when you use these subjects within a sentence, they are called a simple sentence. A simple sentence also has verbs, in other words, action words, such as running, listened, slept, was alarmed. So this is how you can identify what a sentence is in terms of its simplicity and it being called a simple sentence. What's a compound sentence? A compound sentence joins two or more sentences together. The two parts are joined by coordinating conjunction, such as using the word and, which is a very common word, using a conjunction such as but, or even if you use the word or. So if you have any of these conjunctions within a sentence, you are connecting two or more sentences together, and you can tell that this is now a compound sentence. Moving on to a third type is a complex sentence. So here, two or more clauses are joined by subordinating conjunctions, such as the words although, because, and if. So how often do we use those three keywords? Although, because, and if. So the main clause makes sense on its own, but the subordinate clause does not make sense on its own. So for example, if you look at the bottom of the screen on the left-hand side, you can see, I didn't see you at the party, although I looked everywhere. You know, it just shows you that you have a complex sentence made of a primary clause and also a subordinate secondary clause as well. And this way you can tell what kind of a sentence it is. It will be a complex sentence. Moving on to the fourth example, which is in the middle of your screen, right at the top, it says minor sentences. These usually consist of a single verb or verb phrase. So a phrase is like a short sentence with a few words. They're often used in instructions. So if you were to give a command to someone to say, shut up, that's a command, all right? That's going to be a minor sentence. If you put a command up to say, no smoking, that will be a minor sentence because you're only using a single verb or a short phrase. A short phrase means a few words. So I hope that you can tell the difference now between the different four sentence types. This is all English language. Simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences, and also minor sentences as well. All right. Let's go in a little bit more detail and we'll have a look at the variety within these particular sentences as well. So let's go to Ibrahim to read the next section.
Hi.
So variety within sentences in the middle column, right at the top.
Yeah, I see that. Sorry. As well as using all the different sentence types, examiners will be impressed if you vary the internal structure of your sentences. Two ways of doing this involve placing the most important information at the beginning of the sentence, or withholding important information until the end to create suspense. For instance, passing my driving test was probably one of the proudest moments of my life. Places emphasis on the passing of the test, whereas the sentence, one of the proudest moments of my life was probably passing my driving test, is exactly the same words, but places emphasis on how the speaker felt. Even quite simple sentences can be rearranged according to what you are paying attention to. The dog bit the man focuses on the dog. The man was bitten by the dog focuses on the man. The man was bitten eliminates the dog completely and places more emphasis on the biting. The last two examples are examples of passive constructions. Okay,
thank you, Ibrahim. Just mute yourself there. So you see the variety within sentences. So as well as using all different types of sentence types, examiners will be solely impressed if you vary the internal structure of your sentences. So two ways of doing this involve, the first example, placing the most important information at the beginning of the sentence and withholding important information on until the end to create surprise. So what happens in this context is, let's say, for example, there's an essay question. Do you disagree with wearing uniform to school? Simple question. Do you disagree with wearing uniform to school? Some students will start the sentence off saying, yes, I disagree. No, you do not want to do that. You don't want to lay all your cards on the table as soon as you started your essay question. Why? Because what you need to do is balance your arguments, pros and the cons, give your own personal opinions, provide some external evidence, and leave your final judgment to the end, whereby you surprise the examiner. You want the examiner to keep on reading your work right to the end. If you lay your cards out right at the beginning in the first few sentences, then what does the examiner have to read? What else does he or she want to know about? Because you've already answered their question in the first few sentences. All right? So placing the most important information at the beginning of the sentence, but withholding the important information until the end of your piece of work to create suspense and surprise. Okay? So we're moving on to the passive voice now within sentences. So we're going to start with the bottom column at the bottom. Let's go to Rachel for this one. Rachel?
Hi, are we reading passive?
So right in the middle at the bottom, yeah, that's the one. Passive voice.
Oh, okay. Passive voice places emphasis on the thing done rather than the person or thing performing in an action. It uses part of the verb to be as such is or was plus a past participle such as had or taken, e.g. 2 pills are taken twice per day, the glass was broken. The passive voice can be very useful for avoiding responsibility. The glass was broken is much more likely to get you off the hook than I broke the glass, or when the person who performed an action is not known, the wheel was discovered thousands of years ago, or when the actor is not important, as in a scientific experiment. The measurements were taken at regular intervals, but overrules the passive should be avoided. Writing is rather flat if you don't know who is doing what. Passive sentences can sound over-formal and they can be confusing. For instance, the enemy's throat was cut with a dagger. It's rather less exciting than I cut my enemy's throat with a dagger.
Okay, well done, Rachel. Thank you so much for that. The passive voice places emphasis on the thing done rather than the person or thing performing an action. For example, it uses parts of the verb to be such as is or was. So is or was. This is where you have to distinguish the passiveness of the sentence. Plus, you use a past participle such as heard or taken. So the example given to us is 2 pills are to be taken twice a day. So we have 2 pills, but you also have to take them twice a day, all right? And the glass was broken. So you're using like a passive voice in this case, in the sense that you yourself are not within the sentence, but you're actually talking passively about what's going on around you. The passive voice can be very useful for avoiding responsibility. So for example, the glass was broken is much more likely to get you off the hook than I broke the glass. So can you imagine, Rachel, if you said, I broke the glass, the blame will come straightly directly on you. But if you were to say the statement passively, the glass was broken, it's more likely to get you off the hook. That's what the statement says. Or when the person who performed an action is not known, the wheel was discovered thousands of years ago. All right, so nobody knows who discovered the wheel. It's just a passive sentence. Or when the actor is not important, as in a scientific experiment. Okay? The measurements were taken at regular intervals. These are all certain examples. So passive voice sometimes in certain situations can get you off the hook, which we know about. And secondly, you can use active or passive voices within a set structure of English writing. So bear that in mind as well when you're developing your sentence structure going forward. The last one is all on pronouns. So let's go to one last person to read this. And who should we go with? I think everybody's kind of read. Fatima. Let's see, Fatima, if your audio is working properly. No? Okay. Yeah, Danielle, I'm going to come to you. Sorry, just unmute yourself again. Hi, Danielle. Daniel, can you just sort my mic out, please? Because I think you've got the wrong mic setting on today. Usually your system works very well. I'm surprised it's not working today. Can you just check that for me, kindly? Or just log out, log back in. Thank you. Let's go to Dan for the last one.
Pronouns are words that stand in for nouns. Example, I, you, he, she, it, we, them, he, her, it's, himself. Pronouns are very useful, but they can cause a number of problems. In a compound sentence, it makes sense not to repeat the noun. Aaron read the book, then he wrote a review. Is better than Aaron read the book and Aaron wrote a review. But you can overuse a technique. If there is more than one character involved, it can be confusing. Can you understand the following sentence? Patrick gave the CD to Joe, but he was annoyed when he didn't tell him that he had recorded it.
Good reading, Dan. Pronouns are words that stand in for nouns. So nouns are names of places, animals, things, and so on, names. For example, I, you, he, she, it, we, they, him, her, it's, himself. These are all pronouns. So if you weren't sure and you had forgotten what pronouns are, this is a good opportunity for you to actually refresh your memories here. Pronouns are words like I, you, he, she, it, we, they, him, her, it's, himself, and so on. So pronouns are very useful, but they can cause a number of problems. In a compound sentence, it makes sense not to repeat the noun. Aaron read the book and then he wrote a review. It sounds much better than Aaron read the book and then Aaron wrote a review. So you can't keep on saying Aaron. Dan read the book and then Dan wrote a review. It sounds better if you say that Dan read the book and then he wrote a review. Sounds much, much better. So sometimes you have to replace the noun, being the name, with a pronoun. All right, just to make sure that the sentence structure fits. But you can overuse this technique, and if there is more than one character involved, it can be really confusing. So if there was Aman, if there was Dan, if there was Bogo, if there was Rachel involved, and you kept on saying he did this, he did that, but when you said she did this, we know that it's Rachel because Rachel is the only she. But because you've got three males, you keep on using the pronoun he or they, then it does get confusing. So you've got to be very careful and you've got to balance your statements out. Patrick gave the CD to Joe, but he was annoyed when he didn't tell him that he had recorded it. That's just an example for you to follow in terms of using the pronouns. Dan, you were saying something?
No.
Okay, Dan, as you're on line at the moment, let's just do a few questions. So look at the sentence shown below and identify the sentence type. So Alan left this morning. What do you think of that? Simple, why?
Because it's just a simple sentence.
Good lad, well done. Because the subject is there, Alan. That's a simple sentence. And have a look at this. Get out.
Minor,
Minor, why?
because it's a command.
Well done. Good lad. Okay, just mute yourself. Thank you. Hi, Daniel. Can you hear me? No? Okay, let's go to Aman.
Hello.
Hello, Aman. So, our sentences, geography and drama are my favorite subjects. Is that true?
No, not for me.
Okay. What kind of sentence is this?
Would it be a compound? Compound.
Why would you say compound?
Because it joins two sentences up. If it was simple, then there would only be like really like two stuff, no one like subject, but it joins two sentences up with a conjunction.
Well, in terms of the conjunction, you said and, right? So geography and drama are my favorite subjects. So with compound sentences, you join two or more sentences together. But in this case, do we actually have two sentences here?
Oh no, it's only one.
It's only one sentence. So I can see where the confusion comes in, and that's why this is really important to do the questions here as well. I would say it's close. I understand that the word and is there, but because you comparing geography and drama, or you're mentioning the two words together, it's going to be too simple to be a compound sentence. I would say that it's the simple sentence.
All right.
Okay, because you're just using the subjects, in this case, geography and drama are my favorite subjects. Now, it will be a simple sentence in this case, but just hang on for a minute. Let's just go to another example. What about this one? Take your time.
I think it'll be complex because it's got two clauses.
Exactly. So what are the two clauses? Just explain that to us, please.
So it's I didn't go to the match on Saturday is a clause, and then it's joined with the conjunction although, and then I wanted to is another clause.
Yeah. So when you say complex sentence, has two clauses, right?
Yeah.
One is the which one is the subordinate clause here?
Would it be I didn't go to the match on Saturday?
And yeah, the main clause.
The subordinate clause will be although I wanted to, and the main clause will be I didn't go to the match on Saturday.
Exactly. So the main clause in this case is the main information. Always remember, if you get confused between main clause and subordinate clause, a main clause is the main part of the sentence. A subordinate clause is a secondary part of the sentence, which you don't really need to know about. Even if the subordinate clause was not there, you would still get your main information. So I didn't go to the match on Saturday is the main clause. Although I wanted to is a subordinate clause. Okay, so in this case, because you've got a main clause and you've got a subordinate clause in one whole sentence, that means this is going to be a complex sentence. I hope that made sense. Thank you very much, Mark, for that. Complex sentence. Okay. Let's have a few more tries. Don't worry if you find this a bit tricky or a bit over the head at the moment. It's only a little bit of practice, okay? So there's nothing to worry about. Let's go to Eliora. Hi, Eliora.
Yeah.
Did you understand so far the simple sentences, complex sentences, compound sentences, minor sentences? Did that kind of make sense, or was that a little bit too confusing?
That made sense, I guess.
Cool. It's very important in this case. So if any of you, a theory gets a bit too much, just ask me for an example. Because it's always good to give an example just so that it kind of, adds up at the end. So Have a look at this, Elira, and see what you feel about this. So remember here, one thing, I'll give you a clue. This particular sentence places more emphasis on the thing rather than the person or thing performing the action. So this particular passive, all right. Could you explain that in a bit more detail? What on earth does passive sentence mean?
It says that there's more emphasis on the thing done rather than the person or thing performing the action.
Okay, so in this case, passive voice, sorry, in this case, places more emphasis on the thing. What's the thing here?
The water.
The water. The water. And the water will be the passive sentence in this case. Well done. Let's have a look at another example. So read the sentence shown below and identify the coordinating conjunction. Now, what is a coordinating conjunction in this case? That's what we're looking for. So coordinating conjunction, Elira, is using a word that's connecting the two sentences together. One specific word in the middle somewhere. But. Exactly. So the two buses arrived, but both buses were full. So in this case, the coordinating conjunction, remember what conjunction is? So if you know what conjunctions are, words like but, you know what a coordinating conjunction will be. So the key word is in there, conjunction. What's a conjunction? It's the word but. Two buses arrived, but both buses were full. So but will be the correct answer. Well done there. So here now we're looking at the subordinating conjunction. Have a look at this one here. I can help you if it doesn't make sense, so let me know. Again, you're looking for the conjunction. Shall I help you with this?
Yes, please.
Okay, so let me just go back up to the question. I'm not sure if you read that properly. So look at the keywords there. What does it say?
Subordinating conjunction.
And what's a conjunction? Do you remember?
The word that ties it together, I suppose.
Yeah, so words that go in the middle of sentences to actually connect the sentences together. So in this case, which one word will be the conjunction?
If.
If, precisely. So if will be the conjunction here. So keep a lookout for those keywords. So they won't let you in the play if you don't arrive on time. Okay? Eliora, well done. Thank you for your contribution. And let's go to Amir for the next one. Hi, Amir.
Hello.
Hi there. So read the sentence shown below and identify the subordinating conjunction again. What are conjunctions, Amir?
A word that connects two sentences together.
Well done. Have a look at this.
Is it because?
It will be because, yeah. So we lost the match because we didn't have enough experience. So the word because is conjunction. And now you can see that we lost the match because we didn't have enough experience. So you're connecting the subordinate conjunction with this, subordinate clause with the conjunction. So the word because will be the right answer. So here now, Amir, what you're doing is you're identifying the coordinating conjunction. Okay, which is the other way around. So let's have a look at this. He could force the door or he could break in through a window.
Is it A?
Or is correct, yeah. So he could force the door, or he could break through the window. So what is a coordinating conjunction? Coordinating conjunction is when you have two options. Either you pick one, or you can go with the other. So he could force the door, or he could break through the window. So or will be the correct answer in this case. Well done, Amir. And another subordinating conjunction very quickly.
Until, is it C?
C will be correct. So we had a real good time until the money ran out. So well done, Amir. Thank you very much for that. Okay, let's just have, now we've got true and false questions here. Let's just go to Lababa for this one.
It's false.
Hi, Lababa. So a phrase can be a sentence. Is this true or false?
False.
False. Okay, well done. Good girl. Independent clause can make sense on its own. Independent clause. Is this true or false, do you think?
False.
So I'll give you an example. For example, if you look here in the bottom left, you can see the main clause makes sense on its own, and the subordinate clause does not make sense on its own. So the subordinate clause follows the subordinate conjunction. So let me just give you in layman's terms what this means is that if you have two more clauses, that means you have two or more sections of a sentence, and in the middle you have a conjunction. So in this case, independent clauses can make sense on their own. So in other words, an independent clause is a clause that just by itself makes sense, and you do not need to add another phrase or a clause at the end. So clause is basically a phrase. Phrase means a few words. All right. So if you had a standalone independent clause, independent means stand alone, stand on your 2 feet, stand by yourself. So an independent clause can make sense on its own, so it will be true in this case, okay? Let's just do one more. When you look into them, such as is a sentence, when you look into them, this is a quote, by the way. Do you think it's a sentence when you look into them?
No.
No. Doesn't tell us anything, does it? A sentence is like a complete sentence and needs to make sense. So I would say that's false as well. Baba, thank you so much. Well done. And the last two questions to do. Let's go to Ibrahim for this one.
Yeah.
Ibrahim, the sentence, write your name in block capitals, is a statement. Is this true or false?
False.
Why?
Because it's a command. It's asking you to do something.
Absolutely, it's commanding you to do something. Well done. And the last one for the day, last question, varying your sentences can improve your expressions by varying your sentences. True or false?
True.
True. Why?
Because varying sentences normally means that the reader knows that you're capable